Very well. Okay, I bought it from the library. Good to see you. This is wonderful. Yeah. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that.
Everybody, just real quick, we're not starting right away at 6. I would encourage everyone to take a look at the drawings that are posted. If you have any questions, John is over here and Chris is behind me. We're happy to answer any questions. We'll resurface any questions that we think might be important to everybody. But we encourage you to take a few minutes and take a look at the drawings and ask questions. We'll sign in too. Sure.
Sometimes just trying to explain it, I go.
right, folks, I think we're going to get started. Hope everyone had a few minutes to spend some time taking a look at the drawings.
Yep, that's nice.
I'm going to turn the presentation over. We have John and Chris from Ty and Bond that have been working on this project for quite a while. They're going to bring you through where we are today after a lot of our last conversations. And I think the presentation will show that, you know, this design incorporated a lot of what we've heard over the past several meetings. And we're pretty comfortable with this design, and hopefully if everyone is as well, we'll like to move forward. So now I'm going to turn it over to John. He's going to take you through the details, and then we'll go through some questions at the end. So let's let John go through the presentation, and then we'll come back.
Thanks, Rich.
And if it doesn't know, we can go back up there. Sorry.
So my name is John Richer. I'm the project manager for Ty and Bond on this project. With me is Chris Levine, the senior engineer in our office, who's doing most of the detailed design. Chris is going to walk through some more of the detailed elements of the project. So just a little overview. We'll walk through the purpose of the project, talk a little bit about the existing conditions, which you're all familiar with, go into the details of the proposed design, which is the same boards that we have up that we've been talking about, talk about rights of way, we'll look at project costs and schedule, and then we'll open it up for any additional questions you all have. So just an overview of the project. It's being funded by the DOT's with a lot SIP program, Local Transportation Capital Improvement Program. So under that program, the town pays for the design, and then the construction is paid for by the state. So the state covers all the construction costs. So the town received a commitment to what they call a commitment to fund the project, which means that the DOT agreed it was a valuable project and was willing to pay for it in November of 24. We had one meeting going back all the way to November of 23, and then late last summer in August we had one meeting here, and then there was a follow-on town meeting after that to discuss the project. The main takeaway from those meetings is that the River Valley Trail component of the project, the multi-use trail that we talked about before, was removed from the project based on the town meeting that was held in October of last year. So through the beginning of 2026, we've been advancing with the revised design and getting into more detail on the design. So what we heard from the last meeting that we had with you all, and we want to let you know that we listened and tried to incorporate your comments. So the main takeaways we heard were that the town did not want a multi-use trail in the project. A lot of comments about speed being a concern on the roadway. We heard that vehicles don't stop at Union Street at the intersection and go through that stop sign. There were concerns about the right-of-way impacts, and then maintaining on-street parking in the design was important to a lot of people. So we tried to listen to those comments and revise the design over there. So really, the purpose of the project was, you know, as you all know, you live these things more than I do. The pavement is in really bad shape. There's storm drainage issues. There's a lot of ponding that happens that we've seen when you get a rainstorm. The sidewalks are in poor condition, and then there's also some gaps in the sidewalks that are not continuous the whole way along the roadway. And then vehicle speed along the road and don't adhere to stop signs and other regulatory signs. So our objectives in the project are to improve that pedestrian connectivity into the sidewalks and improve them, and enhance the safety of some of the crossings of the roadway. So Chris will talk to you a little bit more about the details of what that looks like. Address storm drainage and ponding, so try to fix the ponding issues. Improve safety, and then right now the on-street parking is not really defined. It's just kind of wherever you can find a spot to go, so we're trying to better define the on-street parking. So objectives of tonight's meeting are to provide an opportunity for you all to provide input on the design. We We'll take any, comments into consideration as we move forward. And, the lots of program requires that we hold a public information meeting at 30% design, which is where we are. This is a preliminary design, it's not finalized. All right, so with that, Chris is going to go into more of the project detail design. All right, so you all know the project area from the south of the street, the south side, and it goes all the way to North State Road, East Main Street. Just to, well, I think maybe to reemphasize what John said, you will know the problems that exist out there, bonding, pavement cracking, the road width varies a lot, the sidewalks are in poor condition, and in some places non-existent. Just showing some more of that, lack of defined parking, the utility trenches that have been dug up for repairs over time. So there's just more of that. So this is a picture of the existing cross section of the roadway. We have two 16-foot lanes, which is a very wide lane, and then it has a grass buffer strip with sidewalks. For the majority of it on both sides. There are some places where it's not on both sides. And from that, we want to move to configuration with narrower lanes, so there'll be two 11-foot lanes, and we provide an 8-foot wide space for parking. We do maintain grass strips on both sides of the roadway where we can. There are some places where the right-of-way just is too tight. We could accommodate that. But in general, this is the sidewalk or the cross-section we try to go with throughout the project. So just looking at a little more detail on Elm Street, we're starting at the southeast side at Main Street. So this is in front of the park right here. That's okay. So just on the left side of this, that's where the park is. So we are going to create defined parking spaces there. And at both ends, there'll be little island bumps at bump-outs to protect the parking there and also to shorten the crossing distance for pedestrians. There will also be a raised crosswalk near Maple Street. And that so this will be a raised crosswalk here. And it's only raised 3 inches, and it's not like a speed bump. This is a wide crosswalk, and it has ramps up and ramps down. So this will give more visibility to pedestrians that want to cross there. It will also help to slow traffic down. Well, to the north or east of Maple Street, this is another pinch point where we couldn't put parking on the south side of the road here without taking or trying to get an easement. So we figured that we would just eliminate, parking between Goodwin and Maple. As you'll see, we do provide a lot of parking, but we just couldn't accommodate it there. So this next section brings us up to Union Street. You can see where we are able to get parking starting at Goodwin, go through to Union. We're also able to get grass strip on both sides. And at Union Street, this is where we're going to have a raised intersection. So this will be a platform. It will be raised a full 6 inches. And as you can see, there's ramps on each approach. This will, like I said, allow for pedestrian safety. As you can better see them, it will also help to slow people down. And that is a stop condition there, so hopefully bring that actually to a stop. So moving further to the north or east, we have a section of sidewalk here between Union and Bridge. I think it's F Bridge is the next street over there, where we really didn't have enough space on the north side of the roadway there to accommodate a grass strip. You can see we have a 6.5-foot wide sidewalk there. So we just decided to increase the width of the sidewalk instead of providing just a sliver of grass strip that would be a maintenance Plus, with the sidewalk being so close to the road there, it's nice to have a little bit of additional width so it moves you further away from the vehicles. Again, this is the defined, or sorry, not defined, but the 8-foot wide parking is available on the south side of the roadway throughout this slide. And continues down. So there's another RRFB crossing at Park Street. Yes, Park Street. So just the east of Park Street, north of Park Street. We have another. This is just 3 inches. Where it's raised, and again, it's not a speed hump. We have a nice platform and a transition up and down from the race crosswalk. So again, it's safety and controlling traffic speed. After that, we continue on with defined parking in front of the factory, and here we were able to get parking on both sides of the street for a portion of that. So that's what we're proposing. So some of the other improvements that we're making are to the storm drainage. Well, you guys know, you live out here and you see the storms and the ponding that occurs. There's also not many catch basins on the street, so we'll be adding a lot of catch basins to improve gutter flow, so you won't get such wide spreads during storm events. These pipes will be upgraded to convey the additional flow that our system is going to catch. So the storm drainage will be greatly improved. We are bringing sanitary sewer up from Maple Street up to the Union Street intersection, and all of this connections, the laterals, will be connected to this new sewer. Utility improvements, you see that the water main is being replaced right now. It needs it, they have any leaks there, and so we're getting this in ahead of our project, so we won't have to worry about this roadway. There are minor utility pole relocations, but they are on the south side, and most of them lie within the grass strip. So there's very few poles that we're going to have to move, again, cutting down on costs. So the speed and calming measures and the pedestrian, visibility. This is what we're thinking when we put in these raised pedestrian crosswalks. As I said, it's not a speed bump or wide. It makes things visible. It slows down traffic, and we really think it's going to work well here. So there are 2 of these raised crosswalks with our RFPs. Again, just to point that out. And so this is what the intersection of the street will look like. It'll look more like the one on the top, the low top. The one on the bottom has multiple lanes and a colored center. Although we could color the center of this one, it's a design decision. But yeah, this is going to help to get people to stop at that intersection, make the pedestrians there visible, and once again, this will be a full height platform, so it'll be about 6-inch ones. I've said enough about the raised intersection, but we can get to that. And then the rectangular rapid flashing beacons. Haven't seen them before. This is what they look like. They will have illuminators on top, so if it is nighttime, if you push the button, the crossing will be illuminated for you. So those are the flashing lights for cars to the presence of the pedestrian. They are solar powered if we have enough sun, and I think Elm Street does have enough sun that we'll be using solar systems for this. So rights of way. We tried to minimize the rights of way for this project, the number of easements needed, and we made accommodations to narrow down or just continue parking, or we narrow down rest strips to really minimize the easements. And some of the easements that we do need to get, it's really where the existing sidewalk is already, and there should have been an easement there. It didn't happen, so we're getting it now to make the project through these construction plans. There are some slope easements that, you know, it may just be a regrading of your lawn because of the change in the sidewalk elevation. It's not expected to go very far, but we do want a smooth transition between the properties. And driveway reconstruction for the same reasons. We may be changing elevations of the sidewalk a little bit, and we want you to have a nice smooth transition into your driveway or interrupt bumps or, you know, angle towards where your property line. We don't want that. So this slide was just to show, you know, some of the rights of way. The red, well, not the red at the bottom of the grid, that's the technical working strip, but the other triangles there show some of the easements. And on the left-hand side, that blue line shows where the existing sidewalk is now. And so our proposed sidewalk is actually, you know, closer to the roadway, so it'll be gaining some lawn area. But we do still need it because, like I said, you know, we need to make this one look. It wasn't done in the past. The picture on the right shows that's at Park Street. Yep. So there's existing sidewalk there as well, and we're just making it compliant. Again, you know, rights of way. We have to go through this process in order to get these construction funds. This is the statute that, you know, we're following, and there is a process. So those people that are affected and we do the easements from, you'll get a letter of intent to acquire, and let the evaluation done for the property, offer of compensation, negotiation process, and then ultimately the acquisition. And once that's done, we create a map. The map will be filed with the county. And the state is, I believe, working all of the easements negotiations for this project. Construction cost forecast. So our preliminary cost is almost $5.5 million. And again, the ones that the program covers the construction costs for the project. Project schedule, we're at 30% right now. We're looking to advance to 90% final design. Based on the feedback we get here and any other things that come up, we look to finish final design in early 2027, and then we would like to bid for the project out to bid in spring of 2027 with an anticipated start date later this summer. You know, this size project, if they start in the summer, they're not going to have time to finish by the fall. So we do expect them to have to finish sometime in the summer of 2028, maybe even the fall if things get extended. But it should be done in 2028. And yeah, so we're going to now open it up for actually, so comments can be submitted until July 17th. But yeah, really we can open it up for questions now. If anybody has questions, I know we probably answered a lot of them as you came up with the plans. But if there's any additional ones, any clarifications that you need, we're more than happy to answer any additional questions you may have.
A couple of things I just want to clarify. So the full design document is attached to the meeting entry that's on the calendar. I will probably create another page just simply just so you have the date for the calendar entry. So I'll create another page for that. We'll include this presentation. Yeah. So we can have that as well to talk about some of the details of the full design document versus so I think really those are the key pieces. You know, I just want to say some of the right of ways here, like this triangle, these should have been probably done a long time ago, but we're not. So they're already signed. So this is just us, you know, checking the box and making sure that all of that is we're going to try and get some of the other work, we're going to make sure we get the other work done from a sewer and water perspective before the project gets going. Yeah, it comes from the state. So it's already been, it's been a commitment for the 5.4 million from the state. The town of Thomaston is responsible for the engineering, which we have already agreed to at a town.
How did you determine the storm amount of flow? There's a part of my house where it rains. The rain actually comes all the way up to my front door.
Yeah, with the lack of catch basins that are out there. So we have analyzed the complete system, and we space catch basins out to do better flow calculations that is required by the state. So during the 10-year storm event, you're allowed no more than half of the travel lane, the width of half the travel lane will be occupied by water. So we space catch basins out along the roadways to meet that requirement. So that should alleviate your issues, because if you can't go any more than half a lane width plus one negative parking on some of these. But yeah, so we've greatly reduced the spread and added a lot of structures. And with the elimination of all these little ponding areas too, to keep a nice uniform profile, I don't think you're going to have any issues. But I'd be happy to look, at your home and see if it's really the roadway that's causing it, or if some of the lawn, the front lawn area is actually causing some of the flooding in your house. What was your address?
The house where this water leaks to go, almost split in their front yard.
And does it come from the roadway or a driveway or something? So it goes up your driveway? It does, okay. Yeah. So I believe that our new system is going to fix that. Yes.
You said you do it sewer from Maple Blue.
Yes. Yeah, there's a big link.
There's no way home, except for you and all that. There's only a little canyon. I'm on that stretch, I'm not on that far.
Okay. Yeah, there will be a manual load at both ends.
That we made, and we have at least one
Awesome.
It might be more of a question for Rich. So after the town redid these 2 years ago, the parking house in the corner, we didn't know. That is their decided that they're not her parking house, the road has to occur, or the hell out of all the work they got done on the lawn, we need certificate sidewalk. The side of Elm is not going to have parking, we have no parking signs, so we're kind of happening after all this money we spent down there. How's that going to work?
Yeah, we do have no parking signs shown on that side.
So it'll only be the designated street parking, we won't have people straddling.
We'll put the sign up, it'll be enforced.
Right, so
If they still do it, but yeah, we do have no parking signs on that side.
With years worth of construction, honestly, not a whole lot to get done in 12 months. What should we be expecting going into the snow season on the street look like?
Yeah, well, I mean, the contractor is responsible for the maintenance of the roadway in very limited shutdown. And they do need to maintain access to every home and to the roadways. I don't know at what stage they'll be before the winter months, but we make sure that they button it up so that we're not going to have problems throughout the winter.
I think it's a little early to say that because we don't know what the exact, when it's going to exactly go out to bid. The contractors don't want to have to maintain it during the winter, so they're gonna get to a logical stopping point, but they're not going to leave the road mess. So it all is going to depend on when they go out. They may only, depending on the timing, they may only do storm and sanitary the first year, and then they go on the roadway work the second year. It all depends on the exact date when it goes out.
I know. Are they
Yeah,
going to
11
a lot of
feet.
each?
It's a
Right now it's 16, yeah.
That's not a lot, right? It's like 19, yeah.
That's two,
That'll slow me
But the
down.
total, I just want to be clear, the total.
Sure.
You look at this cross section, right? This is the existing. And this one, those distances, one end to the other, are exactly the same. We are not making it any wider or, changing up the property.
Also, it looks lovely now. If there's someone parked, like where I am, we have it down long. One car down way from down long.
16,
But that will be
16.
Now, that would be the
They're
six.
travel, travel.
No, the car will
So,
go.
we have additional cars.
So they'll be parked in a
Oh,
lane.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll have 2 full lanes. Yeah.
That's what we're.
Yeah, so there shouldn't be any need for you to stop because the car's parking in the lane and swerve to the other side. That shouldn't be
Oh, that's
happening.
good.
Yeah.
Let's have a different one. So, the parking, we were talking about this piece.
Yeah,
So we're, sorry, they made the parking here.
they're parking there and they're parking as you approach the stop sign.
You know, like they put right above.
Right, right, right.
There's about 5 or 6 cars
Right,
parked.
and there's no parking.
Okay.
The signs
So
are
the
right there.
the parking is on this side. Somebody not paying attention parks on this side. Make sure that that's where it would be, that there's no traffic flow here and there.
That's fine. They aren't supposed to park it. You're not supposed to by law park it. It's supposed to be the stop sign. All the time. It needs a sign. That's why I asked the problem that's out there with on Elm Street now, where it's a problem down for purposes. You can't have a car in that travel lane, park there. And it's,
They haven't said the corner of one, the regions too.
Correct.
If they want to find it in corner.
that all needs to be stepped back. It's a sight line issue.
There's a lot of clarity here now for the American Legion. It's kind of haphazard at the moment. You know, I know I'm probably.
There's no choice about that.
But the people, you know, will stop right off of the end of the road.
There's a pinch point in the building. There's a pinch point, right? Yeah, we're gonna put the sidewalk up to the building, but it's not wide enough to really walk on that side.
So it sounds like he's looking forward.
That's why we have that crossing there.
Yeah, so this will be a raised crossing, not a height platform. It's the 3-inch one, and that's their flashers there too.
Yes, yeah.
So this will be a little safer.
Sounds like coming down.
Yeah, so many seniors walking down there. Especially
Maybe it's going to go right to the side.
Yeah, all the
Parking here in the corner.
Yep.
You're all park right on the stop sign.
First, first few days. I'm sorry, I skipped over your question.
I'm assuming we'll be notified. I'm on that stretch between Maple and Goodwood with the sewage lines. We'll be notified when that happens. I have family by
Yes.
kids and toilet use. We'll get those specific times.
We will.
Yep.
Are you use the town alert system?
Town alert system.
Okay, that's my answer.
I don't know. Do I?
Mine's a town alert
Marcia,
system.
do I do that?
It's, you can get it on your phone.
You can, there's an app you can put on your phone.
Yeah, I don't do that.
It's definitely.
Yeah, okay.
worth having.
I'm just looking, no problem. So I'll download that.
Yeah, we use that to tell when there might be a street closure, or, we used it to notify certain projects that are going on. It's a paving project that's touching, Canfield Road.
Okay, yeah.
So we send that out as best we can. I try and post on Facebook as well. When someone's on Facebook, I only post on some teams, but I try to get those out there. So we get them in advance. Sometimes people do it
assuming it's gonna be like a concrete color, because I'm gonna upgrade the sidewalk in front of my house in the next couple of years, and we know this is like, what material is it?
It'll be a concrete sidewalk.
Concrete, yeah.
Yes. And concrete curb and concrete sidewalk. Any fire hydrants that are in the way, we make that. So we meet proactive requirements, we can provide them for walking through that.
Yeah.
And we have, we really have, there's hydrants in the way right now, and we'll keep locating them.
There are a couple things that need to be moved. Some are utility. Those things will get moved to accommodate the prescribed distances that Chris is doing.
You got a question?
Yeah, we'll be solid. You know, there's a piece that's missing here now, but I'm sorry. There will be a minimum.
What else? What other questions for you? I think we've tried to get everything in there.
Main Street, yeah, that's not raised. The two ends of the state roads, they're just regular crosswalks, they're not raised. Yes.
Can you just tell these people that affect on Sutton's Park, what's going to happen at Sutton's Park?
Okay.
Can you just review that with me on the street?
Yeah, so it's at Thomaston Park. So we're currently showing defined parking along the whole front of the park. We have islands bumped out to protect the parking on each side. Not sure who wants to. There will be, access. I know the park fitness a lot over here. The park where the events.
Like, how much of the park are you taking parking anyway?
So we're very, very close to the existing curb line right now. And the back sidewalk, there's a section right here that I think we measured as like 18 inches. That further back, not the entire existing. Yeah, not the entire. So it's very minimal.
Where is that park? Where is that?
It's
Show it on this one, so we
right
can see.
from here to like about here.
Yeah.
So the berm is affected. The berm itself is affected.
This is the
That's the interior of that is all plantings.
Yep. So on this end, no. On this end, wood.
And the reason for that is, the reason for that is we have put this construction right up against the property line.
Yes.
We can't go there. So that was the limiting factor. So in order to get the sidewalk, roadway, parking, and another sidewalk. That's what we did.
Another question on this. Will there be accommodation? All those plantings are 2 years old. Brand new, just coming through. But will there be accommodation for those plantings and what happens there to all these brand new plantings that are just coming
Yep. So
through?
as part of subdivision and erosion control measures, we'll also tree protection. So they need to surround the tree with a fence so that they don't get it with their equipment. The wall should be far enough away that it shouldn't be bothered by the excavation for the new concrete sidewalk.
Take a look to it, if something needs to get.
Because they're all brand new. It's not that, it's design. It was designed. And,
Isn't there also electrical wire in there too, that was just under the lights?
No, there is electricity, the four stewardia are uplit, but it's on the interior of the berm. So the stewardia, I think, will be fine. I'm just wondering if you're taking the berm, then you're gonna have to have a wall, or, you know, what are you gonna do to accommodate the loss of that berm and the loss of those plantings?
Hopefully we can just
Regrade.
That's what I was thinking, but we'll take a closer look at that area. Yeah, unfortunately, like Rich said, unless we made the LCD park for like 7 feet, which is getting pretty tiny for LCD park. That was the best.
I hear it, I do hear it. And just so the public knows, from that, it looks like that little driveway is gonna be lost for its original intent. The original intent of that driveway was, for a farmer's market, for offloading elderly from Elm Street, and for, well, vendors to be able to offload their musical instruments into the park, because the theater, the platform for this permanent structure that will come is right in that corner. So I understand that the parking spaces could legitimately be that piece of offloading an elderly person, offloading the instruments. It's fairly close. It's really probably 10, 15 feet from, so I get that. I'm trying to reconcile that in my brain because that was the original intent of that. So.
Do you have the original drawings from the asphalt?
Yes. Oh, yeah, they're in your office, actually. They're in the, those are all in your office.
Still finding
Yeah.
So, does Debbie know where they are?
I just, Debbie knows, yeah.
So like,
And I'd be really happy to be able to become involved in that if you want. Mary Lucilla and I, we were the drivers of that part of Reconstruction.
So I'm not sure how often the special events would occur. If it's, less than monthly, it would be possible for the office areas, park there.
Yeah.
We could put some blocks, to ramp up from the roadway, and they could actually get a deep.
Yeah, there's a 9-week concert series that's weekly in the summertime. The whole goal of this is that pavilion that's going to be coming will blossom. Summer theater, students, lots of concerts. There could be lots of opportunity for Thomaston for the pavilion that's going to come. And that path is meant for vehicles. It wasn't built that way originally with the build in 24. Yes, because of it was not going to happen, but the sidewalk was designed incorrectly, and the little driveway was done, but it has to be wide with the next construction of the park.
Mayor Doug, as an alternative, as somebody in the entertainment industry, those parking spaces on Maple are much more attractive to unloading and offloading to me, just because the traffic is so much lower. I don't have to worry about getting run over all the time, and you built these big, beautiful spaces over there. I think, the PE to cordon those off might be a good idea. So in the future, when you're thinking about it, that Maple Street entrance might be a more conducive place to come in.
Yeah, that's how they offload it now. The trucks, the cars back in on the grass, then offload. There is a on Maple Street, as you all know, there's a 4 parking spots, 1 handicapped, 3 regular, with handicapped accessibility into the park, and all the pathways will be, once the second construction is done, they'll all be contiguous throughout the park for handicaps. So it is safer to go off Maple Street if you're off the main drive. I get that. I just, I just want people to be aware of it, and I will certainly be happy to we'll chat.
We'll regulate, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll find the drawings. I'll see.
original drawings, the drawing for the whole town, build,
By the park, where like there's the handicap and the old building, and there are some ways. They're still gonna have on-street parking, like up now, because they park environment now. But they're not an outside of requirement, put the handicap on the edges where they don't really traffic.
For on-street parking, it's usually once, I think it's once you get to 20 spaces, you're required to put in.
I'm just saying, if old people want to go see the concert and that, they have the slide, the edges, where it's easier to access the sidewalk.
The spaces are all wider, which would force us to push sidewalk into the park.
Oh, okay.
And they can actually go get, it is around the property.
Okay.
So I have another question, and I think we've had purpose here. Could more of these be made handicap?
No, that was what we could do because there is the culvert that comes down High Street and comes down and comes through this park. And they didn't want to go anywhere near that culvert. That's like Pandora's box to open it. And so, are you guys aware of that culvert?
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Indoor spot.
They don't want to go there.
You don't want to go near that culvert, is what I'm told. It's working and that's a bad idea. So no, that was
From my backyard, all the way down behind the school. Talk about books, their rain car, I got it in my shed, even book. We got one in our shed. Because all the doors that I will throw us all in the mouth. It's in New York. Well, they didn't do it.
That's for,
Yeah, that's for a whole different thing.
yes.
So there was also a time capsule for the little, just like run the same area. I just want to, I need to represent the younger, so we're talking about the older people.
It's right near the rock. It's actually,
This is Jack, this is Cat.
That's a lot of property.
I don't know, okay, so it's not going to interfere with that?
No, shouldn't.
it's actually going to be better protected.
Good information, thank you.
You've got running from the utilities throughout the park.
Yes.
Is that in the area of the crosswalk there, we're talking about is just for the rest?
That dot, it's right there, right, Rich, right, that dot is a sewer hookup
They're right there.
that was brought into the park for potential food trees. It's actually marked by a stick down there.
Knowing that this project is coming, we're looking at out, please check, please bring in whatever utilities you're going to now, set it out. Okay, fine.
You know what's
Oh, yeah.
6-8 inch?
I don't know, do you
Go
know?
on the plan, Rich, I don't know.
It's on the plan. Oh, 6. Okay. The idea that was not for public restrooms. The idea was for a potential bathroom as part of the pavilion for musicians, to change, to be able to, people that were using the pavilion, to be able to, instead of the porta potty, well, actually the porta potty, because it's not going to accommodate the public, so.
What other hidden gems?
It's all irrigated, that entire park is irrigated. I don't know. It's on, the plans, we followed the plans, except for this, this berm area that this little driveway. But there's room for conversation for that. I hear what he's saying is that we should give it along. I get it. There are 2 sets of drawings, the original drawings and the 2024 build drawings.
Yeah,
Okay?
the original and the as-built.
And the what?
As-built.
As built?
Well, I guess it changed significantly from the original plan that showed the pavilion and everything.
Yeah.
So it's-
Yeah, it's just
it's not
eliminated the pavilion and the staircase was not done. Yeah.
So, maybe we should talk about this, go
talk about that?
Well, not now, because they need to see the drawings. They haven't seen the drawings.
Yeah.
Let me pass the drawings to them, and then maybe we can schedule some time. Because we did get some funding. We ran out of money last time.
There's only so much we could do with what we had, but it is looking really good that we will be able to complete the park soon. It's not going to, all the infrastructure is in there, what's going to come is not. It is not infrastructure.
Thank you for listening.
If there's no other questions, I think we're good, right? And look, if you think of anything, email Deb, and she'll give it to me.
Thank you.
And I'll get the issue. Thank you.
Yeah.